All right, thank you. Again, my name is Chad Evans with Saratech. I'm one of the technical managers here. I've been with Saratech for, I'm going almost 6.5 years now. I also threw a couple other items up there. You can see a lot of my background is automotive. I support a lot of the automotive suppliers, but I also support a lot of the aerospace industries because as a licensed pilot and ex-Air Force, I've got a strong aerospace background. So some of the agenda today we're going to be talking about, I just threw a couple bullet items up there. I want to cover the Siemens Support Center, show you exactly where you'd be downloading the data. Just in case you missed our last session, talk about the Siemens PLM License Manager. We're going to be installing the NX 2007 series, which is, I think yesterday just released 2023 or 2025 yesterday. And they made enhancements with the nesting that just came out. We're going to talk about the roles, look at some of the firewall issues, because we have a lot of customers that call and say, hey, you know, I've got the license manager set up, I've got my NX installed, but I'm still having issues. And it's all related to the firewall. Then we're going to circle back, talk about the PLM communities, and talk about our engineering services. Well, first we're going to look at the dashboard. So you can see here when I first log into the Siemens dashboard, it gives me a lot of good information. It shows me the latest and greatest downloads. It gives me some recent notifications within our knowledge-based systems. Even looking at some of my support cases, I've either opened up a support case with Saratech or Siemens, it'd be listed there. And then over on the right side, we've got different communities you can have access to. Looking at an account center, the account center is going to show you your user and your licenses. Your managed products at the top of the page is very important. If you do not see any of the products up there at the top of the page, definitely contact Saratech, because occasionally when you first log into the system, you don't put the correct sold to ID or install number, then we got to go reach back to Siemens on your behalf and assign the correct sold to. So let's go ahead and swap over, because what I did is I actually pre-recorded a little video. So a normal install will take roughly about 20 to 30 minutes if you're running about 32 gigs of RAM, a little bit longer if you're running 16. I was helping a customer out the other day at 4 gig of RAM. If you're going to be running NX at a minimum, you need at least 16 gig of RAM for this software today. So you can see there, I've got my license file, I've got my PLM license server manager. I've downloaded even the 2019 version, which is part of the 2008 series. If I open up my browser, I like to use Chrome, and I go to my support center. The support center is where I would download all my information. So you can see right here, here's my support center. If I go into my NX product, and then from there, I'm going to go into my downloads. In the downloads, you can see I've got different series that are available to me today. You can also see 2206 is out for beta testing for our earlier acceptance program. If that's something that you're very interested, please let us know, and we'll get you enrolled in that. So like I just mentioned a second ago, 2023 was just released. Actually, I saw it pop up on my NX session. So if I looked at the top of my NX session, and right here at the top of the page, you see this little check mark. I had already installed it, so it's telling me, hey, I'm up to date. But if there was a down arrow there, then you would see that. So, okay, so here it notified me last night, hey, there's a download available. I went out there, I downloaded it and installed it. One thing I also want to mention, when you go out to the latest updates, if I'm installing a brand new computer, I'm going to download the 2023 right here, which is the Windows 64-bit version. That is the full install. But say if I've already installed 2007 and I only want the patch level, this is the MSP down below, the maintenance patch. That's the only thing that you have to install, okay? Download and install. So we do get a lot of questions that call in and says, hey, I'm looking here, not quite sure what to do here. But also, if you did download the text file, there is a README. That is basically, that will tell you exactly what is going on. Okay. So I'm going to go back to my video that I pre-recorded, because I'm going to cut out a little bit in the middle. So I'll go ahead and hit the play button, and you can see I'm going to right-click on this license manager and run it as administrator. whenever you're installing the license manager on the server or local to the machine or NX, always run that as administrator. I'm just going to take the defaults here. So you can see this is my default on the program files, Siemens PLM. There's my license file. It's looking for a license file, but I don't have that .lic. So I'm going to scroll to my directory where I just received an email or where I downloaded this file. I'm going to install it. It recognizes my license is correct, and then it is moving forward. If you did get an error, that's where it would pop up. Now, starting license manager, starting the service in the background. You may get that not responding. That is very common. Okay, just wait a second, and then it comes up. So I'm done, 100%, and then I'm going to get a finish here. So now I have my license manager installed. Okay, I can go back and say, okay, I want to go and validate my directory. So I go into my C drive, my program files, then I'm going to scroll down my Siemens directory, and then right there, PLM license server. So that's where it gets installed. You notice there's SPLM11.lic. That is now your license file that I'm currently using, okay? And now I just brought up LM Tools. If I wanted to go to server status, or if I wanted to stop and reread the license file, I have that option. So you can see there, I'm doing a perform status under my server status, but this is a very large license file that I currently have because we're a business partner for Siemens. We do have a lot of access to it. So if you don't have a lot, it's gonna come up pretty quickly. So you can see it's still reading. So now I'm gonna go back to my install. I've already unzipped the zip file. It creates a directory structure for me. I have a launch executable file. That is the one you wanna be selecting because we do get calls saying, hey, I'm installing it, but I'm not sure exactly which one I need to select. Always install as administrator. I'm going to be selecting my install NX here. Take my defaults here for English. And then it's going to go out there and make sure I've got adequate space. And you can see down below, I'm installing the 2019. So I'm going to pause it there for 1 second. So you can see there, I'm going to install this directory at NX 2007. But if you notice, if I'm doing any type of Team Center support, Team Center doesn't like to have that little space in there between program files. So a lot of times when we're installing a customer, we're setting up Team Center as well, we will take out that program's files. So it basically will start at Siemens, then / NX 2007. I'm just going to go ahead and take the defaults because we're going to install all the products, and I'm going to control what I have per the license file. And that's one thing that's nice about the software. When we do install it, if there's something that you want to go out there and test, you can go ahead and notify myself or one of the sales reps, say, hey, I'd like to test out this software. So that's what's nice about this install process. It defaults to install everything. And then we can come back and we can try anything, if we wanted to go out there and test, okay? So this is, right now, it's probably gonna sit there and validate the install. It's gonna start copying. But this process right here, this could take an easy, 20 minutes to a half hour. So that's why I recorded it. So I'm going to jump ahead a little bit. And there it is. It's almost at the end. We get down to the nitty gritty here. There we go. So I got my finish and I'm done. So I can close that out, close out my GUI. All right, so there's my video file. So then the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start up my NX session. Okay, and prior to that, what I could also do is if I wanted to validate that my NX session is talking to my server, is I can scroll down all the way to NX and say Siemens NX, open that up and say tools-licensing tools. And then from there, it's going to bring me up my licensing tool manager here. If I go to environment settings, it's going to tell me, yes, I'm communicating to the server right now. Okay, but because my NX session automatically started, I know it's communicating. So I'll go ahead and close that down. All right, but one thing I want to notice here is I just installed this and I just opened up a file prior to this session because I wanted to show you all the icons across the board. So with all the icons, you can see I'm missing some stuff. We do get calls periodically saying, hey, I've just installed my new workstation. I can see that I'm missing some icons. Well, the first thing I ask is, are you using your advanced roles? Okay, because what happens is when we install NX for the first time, it installs as essentials right here, essentials. So what I want to do is I want to go into my roles. I want to expand my content. And then I'm going to select my advanced role. I'm going to say yes, continue. And you're going to notice now my icons expand a little bit larger. I have my drop downs for my more options. So this tells me now I'm using my advanced roles, which is exactly what I want to be using. Okay. One other thing I do want to talk about is if after I had installed NX, or excuse me, installed NX, I installed the license manager on the server, and maybe I try to install NX and it's not starting. So one thing occasionally we have to set up is we have to set up a license manager. All right. So what I will do is I'm going to go over here. I'm just going to type in search, and I'm going to look at my firewall settings. So I'm going to bring up my Windows Defender. I'm going to look at my advanced settings, because what we need to do is we need to set up that inbound and outbound rule, because of the fact that that license file has a port number, and that port number is 28,000. Okay, so if I look at my license file right here, NX uses a port of 28,000. And what we have to do is set up a firewall for the license manager for 27,999. In order to do that, I have to set up an inbound and an outbound rule. So the first thing I have to do is I can modify my license file. I can save that. And then I can come in here and say, okay, I'm going to set up an inbound rule. What is my inbound rule going to be? I want to set it up a port. I want that to be a TCP. And my two ports that I just allocated in my license file is going to be 27,999-28,000, just like that. I'll say continue. I want to allow connections. My domains and private, that looks good. Let's give it a name. Let's just call it NX TCP 28,000, and I'll say inbound, just like that. Give it a name so I know what it looks like in my list. So there it is, at the top of my list. I can double click that, confirm. There's my name, there's my protocols, there's my ports, TCP, everything looks good. All right, so that is the inbound. Also, I want to set up an outbound on the server, okay, especially with the security getting tighter and tighter these days. A lot of scammers and hackers and everything that are out there. I even got alerted last night, you know, from my Chase Bank that somebody was using my credit card. So I automatically went out there and canceled. All right, TCP, and I'm going to do the same thing, 27,999, 28,000. There we go. I'll say okay there. I'm going to allow my connections. All right, everything looks good there. I'll give it another name, NX. We'll say TCP 28,000, and we'll say outbound, so that I know I'm setting up my inbound and my outbound on my server. All right, so now I can communicate properly. That way I don't have to go out there and shut down my domain and set up my, or shut down my firewall on my domain, things like that. A lot of customers will call us and say, hey, I've installed everything that's not working. So we always suggest shut down your firewall and then try again. So this, with us setting up those port IDs, that will give the communication and everything will work good there. All right. Another thing I like to talk about is setting up the environment variables. When we do install the license manager, what it will do is it will actually go out there. Let me go ahead and minimize this. So I just typed in env and it brought up my environment, my system properties. I've got environment variables down here. So the first thing I want to be looking for is my SPLM directory, or my variable. So if I scroll down, I have a variable here called SPLM_license_server. So when I install that license manager, it will install that license variable. but I always go out there and look to validate, because here, that is that port number that we just talked about, the 28,000 at my server name. So I've got everything installed locally to my machine. So you can see this is the name of my server, STI-server-CE from my initials. So if you have any issues, or if you get a pop-up saying SPLM license server is invalid or set invalid, this is what they're referring to. All right. One of the things I like to talk about is on this environment variables, I've got some other stuff turned on. So this UGS_licensing_note, I turned that on because I like to see which licenses are being tagged. And then down below here, I also have a UGII keep system log. I set that to true because we will have customers call in and say, hey, I'm getting this error on this workstation. And the first thing I say is, send me the log file so I can review it. And they say, well, I can't find the log file. Well, because NX doesn't always keep them. When you shut down NX, a lot of times it automatically gets deleted out. So if you set that to true, it will keep those log files running on that system. Then we can go ahead and validate that. When I come down here and this license note set to on, what that gives me, it gives me the opportunity to look at the log file. So if I come over here, let's go ahead and close that down, close this down, don't need that open anymore. If I go back to my C drive, I look at my program files, and let's scroll down to my, let's see, where's my Siemens? Right there. All right, we've got a directory here called PLM License Manager. All right, and right there, my PLM License Manager, there's a log file that we just talked about. So if I double click that log file, the log file will give me some good information. All right, especially when we're going out there and trying to figure out which licenses maybe you're pulling or the individual's pulling, if there's any error messages. So this is what I'm referring to when I keep that log file on, or I can set that to true, because I can see which licenses are being pulled, and that's very nice. I can see which, maybe which features being pulled along with it, so I can do some license validation per the customer. Another thing that we tend to do with these license files is we go out there and we use a OpenLM parser. That OpenLM parser, what we'll do is go out there and drop this into a directory, or it's actually a nice little website that we subscribe to. And we do this for a lot of our customers and say, hey, let's do a report on those log files. So I can come back, do a nice little report of your log file, see exactly what you're doing, maybe see who are the power users and all that good stuff. So let's look at this one, 7 mega on this one. So this is a nice log file that I was working on a customer. So I can see exactly, hey, with some of the sessions, I see a lot of my guys, I can tell are logging in and out. If I look at some of the top features that are being used, so I can see which licenses are being used all the time. A lot of Mach 1s, a lot of features. Maybe I want to see who are the top, the top users of my company. So I can see these are top users of my company that I'm currently using. All right, and I can see, who's working a lot. Maybe you can see this one here. You might have some of these like right here. These are guys that might leave their workstation on all night. So, we always tell people, at the end of the day, try to shut things down because your virtual memory needs to get reset. We have had calls in and, the systems are crashing, and that's where, the virtual memory is just maxing out and then it crashes. Okay, so things like this, or even denials. We really like to run a log file against your company log file because of the fact that we want to see what you're denying. Okay, maybe you need more licenses, or maybe your users are trying to try something out. Let us get a nice little trial running for you, and then, or trial license, so that those users can test out some stuff. Okay, so that's some of the parsers that are out there. Excuse me. All right, let's go back to our presentation here. Give me 1 second. All right, some of the forums that are out there. So there's many forums that are available. I just put the NX CAD one. This is the most popular one that's out there. If you need me to email you some of the other forums that are available, just shoot me an email. My email is cevans@saratech.com. Okay, or What you could do is you could also email our support line. Down below here, you can see support@saratech.com. Say, hey, Chad, did a demo. Can you forward this email to Chad? I'd like to, get some more information or maybe a copy of the demo or whatever you guys want. But, Saratech is your first line of support. So you can go to the top of the page, saratech.com/report. You can fill it out this way, or best, email us. I really encourage our users that we support, email me at support@saratech.com. Put in some pictures, put explanation, what's going on. Videos are great because we're on calls, we're in meetings all day long. I can still answer you when I get a nice little email across, okay? And then I can call you right back, or better yet, you can always call us directly and say, hey, I have an issue. I need an engineer to call me back right away, okay? I'll turn this over to Andy. We're going to talk a little bit about engineering services.
Yeah, thanks, Chad. So I'm not sure, a lot of people didn't know that Saratech is an engineering company. We provide services to assist with product development. We work with many companies, large and small, in various industries. So our engineering team actually uses the software and tools that we sell. So our team uses NX, they use Teamcenter, they use FEMAP, they use SimCenter. So we are actually doing production work with the software tools that we sell. So when you talk to Chad or members of our support team, they are just not demo jocks. They actually use a software for production, so they can relate to you from an engineering standpoint. So make sure to contact us anytime you have any questions or need help with engineering projects. Thanks, Chad.
Yep, thank you. Yeah, so I mean, like Andy said, I get pulled off all the time on service projects, doing discovery calls with customers. I mean, this past year or two, it's been stressful for a lot of companies that are out there, hiring people coming and going, people from working from home. Us, Saratech, is an engineering firm that is very happy to assist and, take on some of that information or some work. Even if it's short term, long term, we're here to help you. Okay. Some of our notable takeaways today. So I just want to emphasize, Saratech is your first line of support. Okay, let us try to figure out if it's a bug in the software, if it's a user error, if you need our assistance, license files, moving the license to a new server, getting machine loaded up. I mean, every day I'm helping a new customer, especially with a lot of these new startups are coming out today. This electric battery industry is just exploding. There is also the Siemens Support Center. Definitely get signed up for that. There's a lot of good information, a lot of knowledge-based information out there. Some of our NX installation issues that are out there that we did cover, like the firewall, that's always a very common issue. Looking at some of the environment variables, make sure that is set properly. Going to LM tools, do a perform status to make sure that that server's up and running. And maybe even looking at that open LM parcel and run your log file, or come to us. Request our sales reps that, hey, run my log file for me. Chad said you to do that for me. We do it as a paid server, or we pay for the service, so come to us. I mean, I don't want you guys paying when we're already paying. So let us do it for you, and then we can do a nice discovery call with you and show you some of our findings.
Thanks for checking out our channel. If you like what you saw, make sure to like and subscribe down below so you don't miss out on any new videos. Follow us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Twitter for the latest engineering news and information. And to see all of our upcoming events, please visit our website at saratech.com/events.